the Adventures in Awakening show. I'm Traysiah Spring, and this is the epic exploration of the depths of who you really are and the highest purpose of why you're here. So come along with us on an adventure in awakening. Well, welcome everybody to the Adventures in Awakening show. I'm Traysiah Spring, and boy, do we ever have an amazing guest with us today. Today we have Jeffrey St. Rose, or as he likes to be called, Wizard Azanon. And you will see why he likes to be called that. And Jeffrey is just an amazing expresser. He expresses through art, through necklaces, through music, through video, and he expresses what is going on beyond the outer world. He expresses things from a more subtle level, from that sacred geometry level, from the level of multi-dimensions. And it's so magnificent, his artwork, that I just wanted to share it with you. I met Jeffrey, or Wizard Azanon, at a Mind, Body, Spirit fair in Bellingham, Washington, and he had a booth, and he was showing his artwork as well as his necklaces that he creates and other things, his cards, and I was just so inspired and uplifted, and I felt like it was just awakening looking at his artwork. And so I was so inspired that I just wanted to share it with as many people as possible. So that is why I invited Jeffrey to come here today. And I looked on his website, and he's got a wonderful welcoming greeting on his website that I want to share with everyone. Welcome to my universe. I am a wizard, energy worker, poet, musician, and visual artist. Blessings on your beautiful journey of personal soul evolution and enlightenment. So, Jeffrey, thank you so much for joining us today on this show.
Thank you, Traysiah. I'm honored to be here. Thank you.
Well, it is our joy to have you here. And so I was curious, how did you ever get into doing this? Did you have your own awakening experience where you started to see for yourself the world from this perspective of the more geometric patterns?
I did have a big spiritual awakening back in 2003 in Mount Shasta. We were there for a week-long retreat. And prior to that, I had been gradually awakening, but not to that level. And that actually reconnected me with my spirituality because I grew up Mormon in Utah. And I left the Mormon religion around 1920, and just kind of left religion and spirituality altogether. And conversations with God helped me reconnect back into my spirituality without the religion. And so then I understood the difference between them. And so ever since then, I've been more focused on a true spiritual path without the religious dogma or human-made rules or beliefs, and really wanting to expand beyond traditions or what I was taught. So then my mother gave me this book, and I read it, and Steve Rother was having this Espavo group in Mount Shasta in 2003. So we went there and had an amazing experience on the mountain. That really opened up everything for me. And then in 2004, we went to England, Stonehenge, Merlin's Cave.
Oh.
We received energy downloads there. And then I had a couple activations with some other people that opened me up to astral travel. And so then in 2005, I began receiving these energy activations.
Oh. Can we go back to Mount Shasta and tell us a little bit about your first awakening, and then we can unpack some of your other ones as well.
So this was the third retreat that he had at Mount Shasta, and he started channeling about multidimensional portals, which I had been reading about online. So there was this synchronicity that was happening, and I was trying to wrap my mind around multidimensional portals and what all that meant. We went to Glass Mountain, which is this obsidian deposit. Steve did a channeling there about multidimensional portals. Took us into a portal on Mount Shasta. I wasn't sensitive to energy at the time, so I didn't really feel it. And I wasn't really aware of a lot that was happening energetically because as a triple earth, I've always experienced this kind of not necessarily heaviness or density, but it's definitely more earth groundedness energy. So it took me a while to really open up my sensitivity because I didn't used to be able to feel energies or see things or communicate with other beings. So, but it all happened very gradually for me.
So what was your first kind of like, oh, there is something more to the what I can see?
We were working with the energies of the obsidian stones, and then that's inspired me to have some other activations. So that's what really opened me to astral travel. So that really changed everything for me because as a Taurus, um, everything is very practical for me. I like to experience things tangibly and for myself and to have my own personal experience of things. So I kind of grew up really skeptical, although I always felt the spirits and I felt the spiritual connection, but I wasn't multi-dimensionally awakened or really spiritually awakened. So
tell me about what that felt like for you to be opened to that there are more dimensions going on. Like what was your experience of that? Did you feel it? Did you see it? Did you have a visual? Was it a sense? What was your experience?
well, I first astral traveled to Stonehenge because I've always been fascinated by that. So I went there. I did have an experience there. I don't know if it was the first time I was there, but it came later. But I did have an experience of reconnect with my dragon friends, and I began crying because I remembered them. I remembered the name of the green dragon, Icarus. When I began astral traveling, I went out to the planets to experience their own energies, and I wasn't really well versed in astrology and didn't know the energies of the planets. I just know what I felt when I was out there. So I would come back and have a discussion with my friend Monica, who is an amazing astrologer. She passed on a number of years ago. But I would tell her what I experienced out at these different planets, and she said that's pretty in line with um, the meanings in astrology. And I didn't know because I was just new to it all. And I just know what I felt because I feel energies more than I see them.
And
So
what do you feel like when you feel like if you felt Jupiter, what does it feel like?
I feel the different energetic qualities. So Jupiter to me felt very jovial and very happy planet. It has this expansion, but I really felt uplifted. And so I would often go out to Neptune because I love the transcendent energy of Neptune. So one day I was going out to Neptune and I went through the planet Uranus, and then I heard telepathically in my head, stay and work with me. I said, no, I'm on my way to Neptune to chill out. And then again, Uranus said, stay and work with me. I said, no, I can be very stubborn, I guess, as a Taurus. I was very determined where to go because I wanted to just be in the transcendent energies of Neptune. And then Uranus said a third time, stay and work with me. And so I said, okay. So I did. And then Uranus brought up all this old energy for me to clear it. It was very intense. And then said, come back tomorrow for step 2. And I was thinking, oh, this isn't it. Because I was just new to awakening and didn't realize how much density I had been carrying from this lifetime and other lifetimes. So over a process of visiting the planet Uranus over a few months and it working with me and clearing my energies, then I received this first activation that I call awakening to source. And I was given these words to say, which I found out later from an old wizard language, and told how to perform the activation and what it does. It connects a person to their inner core lights, the true essence, and helps clear away residual energies they no longer need. So we were part of this ongoing metaphysical discussion group. So I told them about my experience. I started giving them the activation.
So you were introduced to astral travel. Can you tell me a little bit about that? Because I'm not familiar with what that is and what that process is. Can you tell us about that?
It's basically taking your energy outside of your physical body into other realms and other spaces. And people have different ways of astral traveling. Some people can project themselves more fully outside their physical bodies, so they're not aware of their physical presence anymore. And those people seem to have clear visuals. The way I travel is that I'm always aware of myself in both places, physically and energetically. It may be why I don't have as clear visuals, or it just may be that the gift of sight isn't one of my predominant gifts. So I'm always aware of myself in both places when I astral travel. And it's basically, I sit in a deep meditation and project my energy out of my body and send my energy, my consciousness, my soul to some other place.
Wow. And it really works. So you really actually experience the other place.
I do. Like I said, I went to the different planets and could feel how they had their own distinct energies, and to have that validated by my astrologer friend Monica, that helped me understand that I do have these capacities to feel these different energetic qualities, which helps me in the channeling of these activations.
I'm also an astrologer, a Vedic astrologer. So I would
Awesome.
be really fascinated to hear about all your planetary experiences. And so how did that, your astral travels and your awakening experiences, lead to you starting to create visuals from that? Your paintings, your necklaces and things like that.
I began creating the visual art back in 2012, which was 7 years after that initial activation I received from the planet Uranus. So that year I received, I think, the first four activations, and then the next year in 2006 I received the three additional activations for that first set, and then all nine of the second set. So things really accelerated for me because of the activations. And so in 2012, I began creating the visual art because I wanted images to put with my music and create these activation videos, because I had been receiving so many activations and then been giving them to people. We started a monthly activations gathering. So I
Wow.
wanted to share a lot of what I was experiencing in a way to get the energies out to people. And I really had wanted to create images for my music. I asked my friend who formatted my card deck, and she was busy. So I thought, well, maybe I'm supposed to make my own images. I never expected to be a visual artist and wasn't really interested in that until around 2012, because I really wanted to combine the music and the art to create this multidimensional experience.
And so how did you do that? How did you create your beautiful videos? Is that a software that you use, or do you just completely do it yourself?
I use a few different video editors. The first couple of videos are very basic because I was just starting out. I didn't know what I was doing. So it was I can't remember the program I used for the first ones, but they were real basic and I didn't really do much with them. And then I began evolving them.
You wanted to be able to create your own art. And did it start it off as videos then? Or did it start off
Right. The
as
whole
visuals?
impetus for creating the visual art was to go with my music. That was really the original inspiration and the original desire to create images. And then it expanded from there, and I began, the art became its own medium and its own form of expression rather than just being images for music videos.
So
And I'm also,
sorry.
oh, I was just gonna say, I'm also a member of the Whatcom Art Markets and the Whatcom
Okay.
Art Guild here in Bellingham. So we
Okay.
have an art co-op in Fairhaven.
Oh,
So I have a
nice.
space there with my art.
Oh, I'm gonna have to see it. I have to come down and see it.
Yes,
Oh, that's fun.
got them
And
all on metal prints, which are very vibrant. I
oh,
also have other prints. Got my Oracle card deck there. I've got some of the amulets there.
blankets, like the
I
one you have
had a
here.
couple blankets there, but they were hard to display, so I
Yeah,
I
they're
just took them back
gorgeous.
and sold them at the fairs. Thank
R
you.
right behind Wizard Azanon is one of his designs,
Yes,
and it
the
is a
galaxy.
blanket. And tell us about this design.
This one I call Galactic Axis. So it really connects with galactic consciousness and downloading of crystalline information coming in. So what I like to do with the blankets is I actually like to stand on them because since they're so enlarged, you can stand on different elements of the blankets. Like you could stand on this part, or you could stand on the crystals, or this, or on the rim, and you feel different energies and different energetic
Wow.
qualities, which is very fascinating. You can also lie underneath them or on top of them.
Such a powerful image. And so it started off you doing videos, and then you took like a snapshot of your videos to create the paintings,
No, I
the
use a
artwork.
software program to create the art, and
Okay.
then I put the art in the video editor and then layer that with
Oh.
particle effects and other video effects.
Oh, so you started off with the still picture first, and then you put that into the
Right,
video thing.
right. And then I
Okay.
put particle effects that makes it look like it's animating the art and really brings the art to life.
Yeah, it really is very effective. It's really amazing. Um, if you want to see some just amazing videos with very cosmic music to go along with it, check out Wizard Azanon's YouTube channel. And what is your YouTube channel? Is it Wizard Azanon?
It's Wizard Azanon, right? One of my experiences at Mount Shasta at a different time was meeting my Red Robe Wizard guides. And one of my guides' name is Avalel. And I saw that as these two palindromes, Avalel, and the Red Robe Wizards are about balance. So we learn the ways of the white robes and the black robes, but stick to the path of balance. So in coming up with my own wizard name, I followed that same format because I like the energy of the palindrome, that it's the same forward as backwards. So then I came up with Azanon, Azanon,
Ah,
and then realized it's the longest leap in the English alphabet, A to Z, back to A, and then the shortest leap, Non. So it's the micro, the macro, the
ah.
Aza, I think of as the all, the non, the none. So it's
Mhm.
everything and nothing, form and formlessness. So it really fits with who I am.
Beautiful. It's a beautiful name. I love it.
Thank
And
you. And
so
then my
you
spirit guide through my husband Billy said that I had used this name before in another lifetime, which surprised me because I thought
really?
I had come up with it in this lifetime, but
Wow, isn't
apparently
that
not.
interesting? Oh my gosh.
And
And so
this is
tell,
on my
go
card
ahead.
deck. This is
Let's see your card deck.
the symbol that I made
Hold that up to the
for.
camera.
Oh, this is the symbol that
There we
I
go.
made for my wizard name Azanon. So you kind of see the
Oh,
Z, the N,
wow.
the O.
Oh, that is so freaking cool.
Not so much the
And
A, but it's all kind of there.
wonderful. Now show us the front of your card deck
Starseed Oracle
and all
card
the way
deck.
up, show it up to the thing. Gorgeous card deck. I have his card deck, Starseed Oracle cards, magnificent cards. Basically, several of his still pieces of work that are these spectacular cosmic creations. And so, can you tell us a little bit more about this wizard connection? I find that fascinating that you're the first person I've ever met that calls himself a wizard. So you're my first wizard. So I'm really curious about how that you came about calling yourself a wizard and associating with that, and what was the background on that?
So we, in 2004, began listening to this man out of Honolulu, Hawaii, Kahu Fred Sterling, who passed away last year, and he was channeling his spirit guide, Kiriel, who's the seventh dimensional royal wizard. So he would do readings. He had a monthly or weekly webcast at the time talking about expanded information, galactic beings. He talked about soul classifications. And then Kahu Fred Sterling channeled this article from Kiriel about these 14 major soul classifications, what they are, a brief description about them, and how really they are like our soul's profession. That's how I think of them. It's our soul's universal profession. We get trained in these soul classifications lifetime over lifetime. So it's a lot of what we're here to master. It is in no way a limitation because we also bring in energies from other soul classes, but are usually predominantly in one soul classification. So there's enchanter. The enchanters work a lot with sound and music, rhythms. A lot of singers are enchanters. Magicians, they work a lot with energy, with illusion. The sorcerers, they're more about power and control. Hitler is a sorcerer class. Sometimes the sorcerers can get a bit too controlling and a bit too power hungry. Then there's the educators, alchemists, archivists. They're the record keepers, or like walking libraries. So there's wizard and royal wizard. I'm in the royal wizard class, and we are energy directors for the higher councils. So that's why I've been given these energy activations, because I've received these energy activations from different stars, different planets, archangels, different wizard councils, the Azuma Wizard Council, the Andalusian Wizard Council, the Galactic Council, and various ascended masters.
How do these activations come to you? Are they sounds? Are they words?
So that first one, when I astral traveled to the planet Uranus and received that over a few months, then the second one is a light body activation from the star Zeradius in the Andromeda Galaxy. And that one came about when I went to Stonehenge again through astral traveling. And I began toning during my meditation. And I saw this phosphorus fog appear in one of the trilithons, between one of the trilithons. And this portal opened up. And I could see black space through the portal. So being adventurous, I decided to go through, and I found myself in front of the star. I heard the name Zeradius. I felt like I had worked with the star before, that I had known it. It felt like it was in the Andromedan Galaxy, and then it gave me this light body activation where I can channel its energy into other people to help activate their light body. And it's a white dwarf star that has gone through its own death process into its ascended, transcended states. And then I found out later that I had studied with this star in a previous lifetime when I was incarnated in the Andromedan Galaxy.
And so these activations come to you as energy that you can give out, or is it something that
I'm always given a word. So the first activation, I was given a few words. The second activation of light body, I just tone the words the radius and bring in the energy. So when I'm given these activations, I'm also given the energy connections and the power and authority to transmit these energies.
Wow.
And then by the third activation, I started to hear them telepathically, and I didn't need to astral travel, because I started thinking, okay, is there a third activation? And if there is, where would I receive it? And then I heard the Pleiades and Alcyone, and heard that when I was ready to astral travel to Alcyone to get the activation. So that was the first one that I had actually gone to specifically to receive this activation. The other ones just happened spontaneously as I was astral traveling and just exploring the cosmos.
Wow. 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 And so now you offer these activations. People can buy these activations from you?
I do. I do them in
Nice.
person. I can also do them long distance. I have over 9,900 activations that I've been given over the last 18 years. They all have
Wow.
to be done in order because they build this energetic foundation. Each one prepares you for the next. And they're all about spiritual expansion. If you want to move forward on your path really quickly and accelerate spiritually, the activations will do that for you because that's what they did for me. As you can see,
Wow.
because I wasn't doing the art or the videos or the amulets until I had received those initial activations that really inspired me and opened up my abilities.
So so it was the activations really that really woke you up to other
Exactly. Yes, I
things
would
going on.
not be where I am without all those activations.
And so once those activations started coming to you, then you started to see visuals, the artwork that you create. How did that come?
I don't really see the visuals as much. Sometimes I'll see certain elements, and then I sit down at the computer and work with the program and begin creating. But most of it is just in the moment and creating in the flow, not knowing what's going to happen.
Ah,
And for
okay.
me, that's exciting.
Yeah.
That's how my process of writing poetry is and
Yes.
music. It's just being in the flow and being open to what wants to come through in the moment. And I just use my intuition and my feeling to know when a piece is finished or not. And sometimes I don't even know what it is. In the early stages, I didn't know what a lot of the art was, the images I used for my Starseed Oracle card deck. I just started creating them, not with the intention of creating an Oracle card deck, just creating the art because I found it so inspiring and it gave this tangible form to cosmic principles, to energies, and I had become really interested in sacred geometry and the energy transmissions, excuse me, from sacred geometry.
Can you tell us a little bit about sacred geometry?
So what I have learned is that organizing energies into certain patterns and arrangements create specific energetic effects. And so those energetic effects have this vibrational impact and resonance with us. Wear them when we see them, when we work with them, their vibrations are interacting with our vibrations, and it creates this alchemical experience and basically this vibrational communication between us and the geometric form. So because they have their own specific energetic effects, those impact us.
And there are certain sacred geometry patterns that have the effect of opening us. Are there ones that are not good to be looking at, or are they all just positive?
That's actually a good question. I haven't personally experienced any negative sacred geometry, but it could be determined by the intention of the person creating them. So that would be the intention and the energy directing that design.
Hmm.
Otherwise, just in and of themselves, they create this specific effect because of their pattern and their arrangement. So with the amulets that I have, I always order them in the plastic first. I wear them so I can feel what their energies are because mentally I can connect with them and experience or understand some of their attributes. but I also like to have a personal experience of them, so I'll wear them so I can get an understanding of their additional energetic attributes and what else they do.
So, can you show us some of your amazing amulets? Wizard Azanon creates the most magnificent necklaces or amulets, and beautiful. And he creates the designs, and then you have them 3D printed. Is that correct? And
Yes.
then you make a mold from the 3D print. Can we see a few other designs? A few other of them?
Oh yeah, this is the Song of the Spheres amulet. This is based on the Fibonacci sequence.
Oh, that's
So
beautiful.
it's about exponential expansion.
Beautiful.
It's very feminine and fluid. This one I call Inside the Lightning, and it's this design that I created for my Cosmic Codes Oracle app, which is related to the stars of radius that I received the light body activation from. So
Beautiful. That's
this
really
is
powerful.
about activating the light body. This is the double domed version. So there's two of the same designs repeated. I also have a few amulets that have two different designs in them.
Yes, can you show us one of those? For his amulets, they're just spectacular. He has a design on one side and another design on the other side, and it's like a sandwich, and it's just the most amazing thing that he created these himself. You don't have one with you there?
It's
That's
over
okay.
there
Okay. That's
underneath my
okay.
energy crown, my
That's
wizard
okay.
warp and wizard wisdom. I meant to bring that out. I don't have
But
any others here
can you show
with
us a couple of
two
other
in one.
designs? Show us a
This
couple of other
this one
designs.
is the double domed aura glow. So this features the
Oh,
seed of life,
it's beautiful.
and this one
Beautiful.
really creates this protective, luminous energy field around the body because it especially powerful being double dome because then you get the front and the back activating the aura, helping to seal up any holes or leakages in the aura.
Wow.
This one
It's just
is
so
evolution of
spectacular.
love. This one is about
Ooh, love that.
centering and balancing the heart chakra. I have over 60 amulets so far. Several connect with
Wow.
the heart, but in different ways. So that's about centering and balancing the heart. The crystalline heart matrix is more about expanding the heart
Mm,
chakra.
that's cool. Beautiful. And so, how did you figure out how to make these?
I actually work with a couple 3D modelers because I had wanted for years to create sacred geometry pendants. My original idea was to take some of the more geometric designs of my Starseed Oracle card deck and turn them into pendants so people could wear them, wearable art, so they can receive the energy, so they don't have to take the cards everywhere. They could wear a pendant, an amulet, and receive and connect with those energies. And so I finally found a couple 3D modelers to work with, one in Ireland, one in Italy. So I send them my designs and then they make the 3D models. Right. So then they make the 3D models and then send me the files and I upload them to shapeways.com and they print them there at their facility. So for the brass, bronze, silver, and gold, they 3D print wax molds and then use a casting process. For the steel, they use the steel powder. For the aluminum, it's some other technique, some laser technique, I think.
So those are all the materials that you use
Right.
in your
Mostly the
pendants.
brass, bronze, silver, there's a couple gold plated, rhodium plated,
Is
steel.
that for different energy effects
Yes,
depending on the
each
pendant?
metal does have its own energy. This
So,
one
oh, let's see
is
this one.
mystical megas in the in the natural copper. So it has
Okay,
a warm
beautiful.
glow. Copper has a real earthy energy. The silver has more of a mental reflective energy.
Oh, okay. Wow.
And The rhodium plated brass is one of my favorites because it has a lot of strength, a lot of power. I love the platinum metal because I feel like it's very balanced, masculine and feminine.
Beautiful. Now, if anyone listening is interested in your amulets, how can they look at them, check them out?
They're all on my shapeways.com shop, in my shapeways.com shop. There's a link on my websites.
And your website is?
Azanon.com, Azanon.com.
Okay. So go to Azanon.com, go to his website, and you can check out the amulets for yourself. They're just spectacular, spectacular.
Thank you. I've got a link to the amulets. My music is on Bandcamp. I've got a link to my YouTube channel and my Etsy shop where I sell the card decks and art prints, blankets, yoga mats.
Oh, yoga mats. That's fun.
I do. I have 6 or 7 designs on yoga mats. I kind of
wow.
obsessed for a while. I was like, okay, which design can I turn into a yoga mat? How can I make this design into a yoga mat?
Oh, good. I want to check out your yoga mats.
Yes, they're very powerful. They're great meditation tools. Just lying down on them.
Right.
You receive the energies and can transcend. They're very transporting. The first one I created, I call Cosmic Consciousness, and I felt really transported and lifted up.
So the point of getting an activation from the activations that you received is that it does help you to expand your awareness, open you up, and kind of activate your evolutionary process.
Right. They're all about accelerated spiritual evolution. So the activations will move you forward on your path really quickly, help you connect with your multidimensional gifts and abilities and skills, because we all have so many amazing gifts and skills and abilities, a lot of which we don't even know about, so we're not using. So the activations really help open up consciousness, expand consciousness, and really propel you forward on your path in huge and dynamic ways.
So what is your goal? What is your vision of sharing this with the world? How would you like to share it with the world?
My goal really is to help awaken people to their unique gifts and skills and abilities, because we're all incarnated here for a reason. We all have a purpose for being here that is perhaps beyond what we even realize. And so for this ascension, this dimensional transition, we need all of us working together as our fully empowered, enlightened selves.
Beautiful, beautifully said. Beautiful. And how did you come up with the music? Did that come from the activation codes that you've gotten?
My music did really expand from the activations. I've always been interested in music. I've been writing songs since I was a teenager, composing my own music, and went through different musical expressions. And then when I always wanted to create electronic dance music. That was one of my first passions. And then as I spiritually awakened, I moved more into meditation music, working with different frequencies, layering different frequencies together for energetic effects, for enhanced meditation, astral travel, cosmic consciousness. So it's a real exploration for me in working with the music. And one of my astrologer friends gave me this book that was written at the time I was born that said people with this placement in Uranus, Uranus in a certain placement, that said there's a tendency for people with this placement to create unusual electronic music. So, and I'm living that out. And that was written in 1974 when I was born. So it's very interesting.
Wow. And so how do you create it? Do you have a synthesizer type of
I do. I have two synthesizers actually right here. I've got the covers on them, but they're analog synthesizers, Andromeda A6 from Alesis. So it's very galactic, of course. which is what I like. I had a friend who wanted me to help her make music a few years ago, and she said, "Is there anything that doesn't sound spacey on this synth?" I said, "No, that's why I got this synth because it's spacey and cosmic." And she wanted something more normal and 3D, and but well, that's not me.
And so the music, does that is the goal of the music also for openings and activations? Do you get inspired to do that somehow?
Exactly. I was really inspired to create music for meditation to help people really cosmically connect. And then I became interested in working with specific frequencies. So that expanded my work even more, working with these different frequencies and layering them together for different effects. Because sound is also vibration. So everything is vibration. The language of the universe is vibration. So it's all vibrations interacting and communicating with each other. So music
Beautiful.
is one form of that, and then putting the music with the visual art and spinning them, rotating them, putting motion to them creates this vibration, multidimensional vibrational experience that really helps people connect cosmically.
Beautiful, beautiful. So when you created your videos with the music online, tell me about what you were hoping that people would have the experience of if they watch it.
I really wanted to give the experience of the vastness of the cosmos and the diversity. And in my Starseed Oracle card deck, I have a category called Stargates and have 9 different Stargates that are connected with 9 different galactic civilizations. So I made videos for each of those 9 Stargates to help people really connect in with the different energetic attributes of these galactic civilizations, the Pleiadians, Assyrians, Orions, Andromedans, Arcturians, because they all have their own specific, unique vibrations and specific attributes and ways of being. And we've been incarnated in many of those systems. So it's also a way to help people connect with their multidimensional selves, other aspects of themselves that are in other dimensions, other places in the universe that we call home, to help people really understand that, like you said, we are spiritual beings having a human experience, but we've had lifetimes in other realities, other dimensions, other civilizations and planetary systems. So during this time of ascension, it really is an amazing opportunity to expand ourselves galactically and multidimensionally, cosmically, to connect with the fullness of who we are and to remember those different lifetimes and incarnations in different systems, attributes, understandings to this planet to assist with the ascension.
And when you say ascension, what do you mean by ascension? Where are we going?
We're going to the next dimension, baby.
And what is the next dimension?
Well, some people say it's the 5th dimension. Other people say it's the 4th dimension. Kahu Fred and his guy Kirill talked about going into the 4th dimension, but we'll all go in at a specific level depending on where we are when the time of the shift actually arrives. So say you're at level 3.5 here, which is the 3rd dimension, you'll translate probably people are higher up in the 3rd dimension, then they can ascend into the 4th dimension at a higher level. He said, okay,
Right.
well, I want to make it to at least 4.7 because I love to fly.
And so we're ascending while we're still on Earth to different dimensions, or is that when we pass that we go to different dimensions?
Well, both. When we do pass, we do go into other dimensions, but we are really here to assist humanity in transitioning from the 3rd dimension into the 4th dimension and then eventually into the 5th dimension. So it is this huge dimensional shift that requires all of us, which is why I feel like we're all here at this time, because we all have specific gifts and abilities to help bring this dimensional transition about. Kirill will talk about the inside portal workers and the outside portal workers, and that how the fourth dimension is coming down on top of the third dimension, and that eventually there'll be pockets of the third dimension left. And the job of the outside portal workers is to go to these pockets of the third dimension and help the people out if they want, and take them to the portals into the next dimension. And then the job of the inside portal workers is to help teach the people coming through the portals, because we're all at our different levels of understanding and consciousness, and some people might not understand what's happening, but they've chosen to be here for the shift and to experience that, even though they may not fully understand what all that entails. So there'll be teachers on the inside helping to explain to people what is transpiring. I feel my role will be a little bit of both, that I'll be inside helping to teach people, doing the activations for people, and also going out, riding the dragons, helping to collect the people who want to come through the portals into the next dimension.
And so that is happening now on the earth now. There's shifts going on now.
Right. So we're being given this opportunity to shift into the next dimension while still embody, whereas normally I've heard that sometimes the population will be wiped out and then we'll come back at a higher level, but this time it's happening differently from what I understand. So we're receiving these downloads and energies so we can prepare ourselves to enter the next dimension, because the dimensional shift is really huge. It's basically a completely different reality, and it's nothing like we experience here in this dimension. We can have some overlays and some understandings of the other dimensions, but we're still in the third dimension here. So the other dimensions have their own laws of physics, their own understandings, their own realities. Like Kirill has said, in the fourth dimension, there is no disease because we don't need that as lesson plans anymore. So we have more of a light body rather than a dense physical 3D body, because the lesson plans are different. The experience is different.
And so how will we know when that's happening, or what?
We won't we won't miss it. We'll know when the changes are happening.
So they're just gonna one day start to feel a difference in your whole reality, or how is it gonna take place?
Well, what Kirill has talked about, he's talked about what he calls the 3 days of darkness, where there's so much photon energy coming in that it blocks out the sun for a few days. And he said a lot of people will kind of fall asleep and then wake up in this new dimension. And there'll be other people who won't fall asleep, and they'll be working to assist with the dimensional shift. And at that time, a lot of the galactic beings will come in, the dragons will return. I think a lot of them are already here energetically, relate with them and experience them in the same reality.
So dragons are a real thing in a different dimension?
Yes. Dragons are basically six-dimensional beings. And I feel like they used to be here on Earth, and then I guess as the densities increased and became a third dimensional experience, they left. So as we're shifting into the higher dimensions, a lot of those other creatures, higher dimensional creatures like dragons and unicorns, will begin to return. They're already here energetically, and they can come back and forth between the dimensions.
Huh. And so were we in a higher dimension before, and now and then we went to a lower dimension, and then we're going to go to a higher one again?
Right. People talk about Lemuria as being more of a fourth/fifth dimensional experience. What I've heard from Kirill is that the Lemurians were created from a joint venture with the Elvens and the angelic beings. So we were in that vibrational experience. And then I suppose the creator source wanted to move this planet into a more three-dimensional experience. And now's the time that we're moving into the next dimensional experience. So I feel like that's how it works all over the cosmos, is that there is this constant flux of moving in and out of dimensional experiences in all these different civilizations, because that creates growth, it creates evolution and experiences for enhanced evolution. And that's what the source is all about. We are creator source. We're all one, we're all part of the same energy, having our own unique individual experiences and expressions, which is very magnificent.
And so tell us more about that one energy, that one experience. That is where we're all headed.
We're already individualized souls of the creator source. So from my understanding, the creator source splits itself into different oversouls, and then those oversouls split themselves into different individuated souls. And so those souls that have come from a single oversoul belong to the same soul family. So you have these different soul families, and then the souls choose which soul classification they want to be in. So you can have different numbers of souls in different soul families and different soul classifications, which is really amazing. We have 33 members in our soul family, which I was told is one of the larger ones. I've known people who have just 5 members, 12 members.
How do you find that out?
My husband Billy channels our spirit guide Azanon, who is a 7th dimensional royal wizard, so he's gotten a lot of information from him over the years.
You do that, or you?
I don't. My partner Billy does.
Okay. Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. What a partnership.
Yes, he's also a wizard, so he has his own wizard gifts, which are different than mine.
Wow. And how can you find out what category you're in?
Well, sometimes just reading through the list, you'll find resonance with one or a combination of some. We know a white robe wizard who has a shamanic leaning, so a lot of his work is very shamanic, but he's predominantly in the wizard class, but he combines attributes of both.
Do you have a sense for what people are?
Sometimes I do. Sometimes I can see it in their eyes. Sometimes if I know a little more about them, it's been a process of learning for me. And I've gotten to be a lot better about determining someone's soul classification. So if sometimes I meet them at the fair and can understand which soul classification they're from. And then there's also the angelic realm, which is different than the 14 major soul classifications. So that's its own evolutionary journey.
Do you have all of the classifications written down? If somebody's interested in finding out their own classification, do you have a book or something that they can look up?
I don't. I have a copy of the article that's Fred Sterling channeled, but I don't have that on my website. I've been thinking about putting it on my website as this resource for people to read about and see, because it really makes sense. Once you know your soul classification, it really helps know who you are at a core level. When I found out my older sister's in the warrior class, all of a sudden her whole life made sense and she made sense, and I understood her and why she is the way she is, so I could relate to her more easily, because she's had so many warrior lifetimes, and the warriors are the guardians and the protectors. And there's this funny story where she would always buy my nephew Spencer toy guns and knives, and my uncle said, "Oh, you can't take the gun into the church." And she said, "Right, Spencer, drop the gun and grab the knife," because she wasn't going to let him go into the Mormon church unprotected. But see, that's how she thinks as a warrior. So it really determines so much of who we are and why we are the way we are and why we respond to things the way we do.
That would be a fascinating thing for you to, write out, that, use the article, and that would make a great book. I don't know if the original.
Right. Actually, my sister and I talked about writing a book and using the article as
Yeah.
a basis and a
Yeah.
foundation, and then each providing our own input based on our experiences
Yeah.
of the soul classification, the positive attributes, and also the shadow attributes of each of the soul
Yeah. Right.
classifications.
Right. I would read that
Sometimes the
book.
warriors can get too overbearing
Hmm.
and
Right.
too in that warrior mode rather than balancing it, knowing when to use the sword and knowing when to use the feather.
Good one. And for wizard, what would be the shadow part of the wizard?
Well, it depends on the wizard versus the royal wizard because they're uh, two different. They're similar, but they're also different.
So for yourself, being a wizard, what is the shadow part?
I think it would be getting too caught up in the mind, too caught up in the ego.
And then the gifts of a wizard.
Well, the wizards are trained in the art of summoning energy, supernatural abilities. So, like I said, you have the white robes, the red robes, the black robes. The white robes are more about service and healing. A lot of the white robes work with the angelic realms. The black robes are more about their own ambitions and their personal power. And so the red robes combine both, learning about service and healing, but also power and ambition, and combining those both in a very balanced way. So I do have this ambition and this drive to become more powerful because I really want to help more people. And the more powerful I am, the more I can give to humanity and people to help them.
Is there a
But then,
feminine wizard?
yes, yeah. I've done activations for a lot of female wizards.
Okay. Is there a witch classification?
Which might be more of the sorcerer,
Oh,
although
sorcerer. Okay.
sometimes some people might call shamans who work with the darker energies witches. So there's a little bit of overlap with that. But in the wizard, royal wizard, and magicians, they have the three orders: the white, the red, and the black. And the sorcerers, there
Okay.
are two orders: the gray and the black. And the gray robes are a little less intense than the black robe sorcerers.
So now in your life, from this perspective of, you've had this awakening to other dimensions, other star systems, the planets. And so how do you live like a normal day-to-day life? Knowing all of this, how do you function as a practical day-to-day existence?
It's actually really easy for me now because I've had many years of experience doing that. But when I first began astral traveling and having these expanded experiences, it was very rough for me, very challenging because I would come back from exploring the cosmos and then have to wash laundry and vacuum. And I felt this disconnection and I got kind of depressed and disillusioned with this reality and felt for a moment that I wanted to leave because I had awakened to this larger experience. And I thought, okay, why am I here? I want to be out there with the dragons and unicorns and with the stars, exploring the vastness of the cosmos, not
Yes.
vacuuming and washing laundry.
Yes,
And
totally.
it was very, very challenging for me. But then my spirit guide said, you're just starting to awaken here. Don't leave yet. So I thought, oh, okay, you're right. Yeah, I'm just getting going. It's just the beginning of my journey, and I have a lot more to do here. And so I really decided to stay and expand and use my gifts and abilities to help other people. And then over the years, it became easier to astral travel and visit the goddesses, the dragons, and then come back and do laundry and vacuuming. And there wasn't a disconnect anymore because I had really worked to balance and integrate both worlds. And it was like no problem for me. So now it's really easy for me to do that, but it was very challenging in the beginning.
When you talk about evolving to the highest consciousness, what to you is the highest consciousness? What is the ultimate goal of that?
Well, it really is to progress through the dimensional levels and really experience our fullness. And from what our guides have said, no one really knows how far we could really go and what is really possible and what's out there. I did have this experience of connecting with the Galactic Council in the ninth dimension, and their energy was so vast and so profound. And I just wanted to stay in their energy. And they let me for a while and then sent me back because they didn't want to overwhelm me. And they are a group of nine beings who manage this galaxy and help keep everything in order and assist with all the evolutions. So that's a huge task, and there could be some part of that for us, that we eventually ascend into the ninth dimension and become managers of whole galaxies. Who knows what's possible for us, because we are limitless and we are sparks of divine source. It's just a matter of expanding our consciousness and moving through the dimensional levels. And we're all at our own pace, at our own level of experience.
What do you think the ultimate thing is? The final thing, is there a final experience?
I don't know that there is a final experience. I feel like we'll all keep continuing to evolve and progress, even as the creator source. You would think that is final, but it's really not, because we're extensions of the source, and the source is living and breathing and experiencing through us as we live and evolve and create. So it really is this experience of eternal creation. So I feel like the best thing we can do is just relax into that and be where we are in the moment, while still at the same time unfolding our evolution and expressing our limitless potential.
Beautiful, beautiful. Are there any practical things that you can offer to those listening today that would help them with their evolutionary process, like a daily routine or a meditation or diet or anything like that?
Meditation is what helped me more than anything, because I was able to really go inside myself, to see my own patterns that weren't working, see why I was feeling the way I was feeling, what I could do to shift and change things, where I was feeling energies and densities or distortions in my body, physical body, emotional body, mental body. So it was a great way for me to clarify and really understand myself. And then progressing further, it became this tool for me to then astral travel and explore the cosmos when I reached a certain level and was able to do that. So I feel like meditation is this multi-layered experience of really connecting in with the higher realms, the higher consciousness. It's a great way to connect with your higher self, with your guides and guardians, because you're in this receptive mode of wanting to receive, because we ask and ask and ask, and not always do we take the time to relax and receive. So meditation is that part and that process where we can receive and open up and connect and communicate. And diet is, of course, very important, because as we're increasing our vibrations, we want to eat high vibrational foods, natural foods, organic foods, raw foods. I know you work a lot with that, which is very admirable, and I definitely support that.
Wonderful. And what kind of meditation do you do?
If you can really take some deep breaths, that lowers your brain waves and gets you into the other states, because we are really meant to go back and forth between the different brainwave states. So being in the beta brainwave state all the time is too wearing and taxing on the body. So just breathing deeper and relaxing more will help get you into the alpha state, which is it's a very creative zone. And then relaxing and going even deeper, you get into the theta states where you can really heal a lot and communicate even more deeply. So listening to music that helps entrain your brain to the alpha states or the theta states is a great tool. Because sometimes a meditation can just be sitting silently and breathing. Sometimes it can be an inward journey. Sometimes it can be astral traveling through the cosmos. Some people like a walking meditation. They don't like to sit still, so they'll walk and come to clarity and epiphanies through that. It's basically just about being present to what is, because when we're present to what is, then we understand more of who we are and what's around us.
So who are we really? If we were to say, who am I? Who are we really?
We're all divine sparks of the creator source, having our individual soul journeys and expressions for limitless creation and evolution.
Beautiful. And why are we here?
Well, we're here for a number of reasons. We're here to really experience the different dimensions. Right here at this time, we're here to shift from the third dimension into the next dimension. But I feel like in all our different incarnations, we're here to have an experience. And we take that experience back to the creator source when we transition from each incarnation. And then the creator source learns and evolves and grows. And so we're all part of this working oneness, this cohesive, unified energy field of consciousness. And we're all experiencing reality in our own unique ways because of our unique vibrations and experiences, soul classifications, all our different incarnations. So it's really a magical and divine expression and experience of all that is.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow, I love your perspective and the way you express what you've been through, and it's just very opening and very inspiring. And
thank you. It's been a wild ride.
Yeah. So it's how many years has this been going on for you for when you started First Awakening? So you said 2002, so about 21 years ish.
Right. 2003 was a big experience in Mount Shasta that changed everything for me. That really catapulted me forward in dynamic ways, and I never looked back. The first few years before that, it was just this preliminary, gradual awakening. And then I just catapulted forward after 2003 and really connected with my passion and my purpose for being here.
Beautiful. And so your videos and your music and your artwork and your amulets have gone out to a lot of people around the world. Thousands of people I see on YouTube, and you've inspired so many people around the world. And what a beautiful thing. What a beautiful
Right. I've had so many people inspire me, so I want to continue giving that gift to help inspire other people and to help them awaken to who they truly are, because we need more enlightened beings here working in our full power and our full mastery. That's what it's going to take for this ascension to be successful.
And so how can we become more aware of the ascension?
So the best way of becoming aware of the ascension is by having a practical experience in your physical body and paying attention to your experience and what you're feeling. Because sometimes you might need to lie down and take a nap to integrate some energy download coming in. Other times it might be expressing through art or music or dance or movement or going for a walk to help integrate. So it's more about being in that present moment and feeling what you need to do in that moment without necessarily having to know everything mentally. And there's so many different energetic tools available. And as a Taurus, I like to bring additional spiritual tools to help people awaken.
Wonderful. Yes. Wizard Azanon is an amazing musician and video artist, and we would like to share some of his beautiful music and videos with you today. So, Wizard Azanon, what video would you like to share with us?
First Light Codes video, which features a lot of the amulet designs. So it took a while for that video to come together because I first had to create the designs for the amulets.
That sounds amazing. Good. Yeah. Wonderful. And we hope to also highlight Wizard Azanon's music throughout our other shows because it's just extraordinary and very awakening and opening for our awareness. So thank you for that. Thank you for your beautiful music.
I've got a couple albums that I'm working on that I'm almost finished. I'll be uploading those the next few weeks, next few months. So look for those on Bandcamp.
Okay, good. And you can also access those through your website?
Yes.
Azanon.com. Is that
Azanon.com. Azanon.com.
.com. And so are there any last words of wisdom that you would like to share with our listeners today to help them with their evolutionary process?
I would say that self-love is the first really helped me even before the spiritual awakening I had in Mount Shasta in 2003. It was when I really began to unconditionally love myself that my path opened up. Because when you love yourself, you really are nurturing to yourself and you really want to move forward in your evolutionary growth and your spirituality, and you're able to share more love with the world. So self-love is key and is primary.
That's a good one. That's a good one. And along with that, would you say forgiveness?
Absolutely. Yes. Forgiveness of self, forgiveness of others, which is, but we're all part of the same energy expressing itself in different ways. So yes, forgiveness helps release blockages and densities and distortions. So we're no longer carrying those lower vibrations and frequencies, so we can really open up our vessels and our energy fields to the higher consciousness more easily and more quickly.
Oh, beautiful. That was cool. Very cool. Yeah. Beautiful.
And ultimately, it is all about love. It's interacting with different people in love and in balance, and we're all here for different life lessons and purposes, and we play different roles throughout our various incarnations, but ultimately it's all about spiritual evolution and progression. And so we played these different roles and dualities in so many different lifetimes. So in forgiving ourselves and forgiving others, we're able to let go of the traumas and retain the lessons and move forward and be thankful for the experiences, because without those we wouldn't have learned some valuable and key insights.
Do you have a word of advice for those that are going through some challenges now in their life? They might be feeling kind of in the lower frequencies, and how do they raise themselves up out of that, and so they don't feel like they're struggling so much?
Well, as I said, I do feel like it comes back to self-love, because when you do love yourself, then you want to heal yourself. If you're not loving yourself, then you're not fully engaged in your life, and you may not be wanting to heal or move forward, but we're all magnificent creator beings. So I would suggest finding one or two things to love about yourself, and then keep expanding from there until you love your entire self and your entire being just as you are, because we are perfect just as we are, and we're meant to be just as we are to go through these experiences.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, thank you so much, Wizard
Thank
Azanon, for
you.
being here with us today. What a blessing it has been to have you here.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here.
Well, it has been such a joy to hear your perspective on things. It's very expanded and very hopeful and very opening. So I'm just really grateful that you're here doing your stuff in the world, doing your part to help to raise the consciousness, raise the frequency, the vibration through your artwork and your music and so many things that you do. And you even have an app, I saw.
I do, yes. Cosmic Codes.
Wow, just so amazing. I love all the work that you're doing.
Thank you.
So,
I
so
appreciate that.
inspiring,
And I
profoundly
appreciate you and
inspiring.
your work.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Once again, thank you so much for being with us. The first wizard that I've ever met in person, Wizard Azanon. And
Thank you. Love and big hugs, everyone.
Love and big hugs. And if you want to have more information about Wizard Azanon, then you can go to his website, azanon.com.
Thank you.
Thank you again. Thank you for joining us for the Adventures in Awakening show. For more information, go to our website, adventuresinawakeningacademy.org. I'm Traysiah Spring, and wishing you a glorious day.